All right, so today we're going deep into the world of Gwalior Gharana, one of the big names in Hindustani classical music. And, it's one thing to say that,
Yeah,
but we want to figure out what makes it so special. What's its story, and why should people care?
right.
So to help us out, we've got this document. Gwalior Gharana is one of the oldest and most influential Gharanas.pdf.
Oh, yeah,
And with that, let's jump in.
right.
So maybe we could start with some context, like how did Gwalior Gharana even come about?
Okay, well, before we had the Gwalior folks, we had something called Drupad. Drupad was like the main style for centuries.
Okay,
It's got these powerful vocals, and it often tells heroic stories.
I see.
It was a huge deal.
So then how did things shift from Drupad to the Gwalior style?
Well, there was this new style called Khyal,
Khyal.
which focused on expressing emotions and having beautiful lyrics.
Okay.
And people really loved it. And guess who was leading this whole Khyal movement?
I'm guessing the Gwalior Gharana.
That's right. They didn't just go with the flow. They took Khyal and made it even better.
Wow. So they're like trendsetters.
Exactly. They developed it and made it popular.
So that's why it's such a big deal.
Yeah, pretty much every Gharana that came after owes something to them.
That's incredible. What I always find interesting about Gwalior Gharana is that balance they have.
Yeah.
There's clarity and precision in the music, but it's also so expressive.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
Well, it's all about finding this sweet spot between three things.
Okay.
Swara, which is melody,
Uh-huh.
Tala, which is rhythm, and Sahitya, which is the lyrics.
I see.
They don't just sing random notes. They tell stories with their music. And each part has to be just right.
Right.
And their singing is really straightforward.
Straightforward.
Yeah, every note, every word, you can hear it clearly.
Oh, I see.
It's not about showing off with a bunch of extra stuff. It's about letting the music speak for itself.
And
Yeah.
I've also heard about their tans.
Oh.
These fast passages, they seem so complex.
They are.
What makes them so special?
Well, first there are the bultans.
Bull tans.
Yeah, the words in the song become part of the melody.
Wow.
It's like the words are singing.
That's amazing.
Then we have sapatans. Those are super fast notes, one after the other.
Oh, wow.
It takes real skill to pull those off.
Yeah, I bet.
And then there are the gamaktans. The notes in these have a kind of shimmer to them.
To shimmer.
Yeah, like they're vibrating. They have this incredible energy.
So cool. And we were talking about Drupad earlier.
Yeah,
Do they ever use elements of Drupad in their Khyal?
they do.
Really?
In the beginning, they often do this thing called Nam Tam Alap.
Namtam Aleb.
It's like a little musical conversation between the singer and the tampura.
Oh, wow.
It sets the mood for the rest of the performance.
I see. It's like they're blending the old and the new together.
That's right.
Fascinating. And then they have these compositions called bandishes.
Right?
What can you tell me about those?
Well, the Gwalior Gharana uses bandishes that are old and structured. It gives their music this sense of discipline,
Okay.
the feeling that they're connected to their tradition.
Right. And speaking of tradition, we can't forget the artists.
Oh yeah, the people who made the Gwalior Gharana what it is.
Yeah, it's not just a style, it's a whole family of musicians.
Right.
So who are some of the big names we should know?
Well, it all started with Hadu Khan and Hasu Khan.
Okay.
They're the founders, the ones who got everything going.
The OGs.
Then there's Nathan Khan and Nisar Hussain Khan.
Uh-huh.
They were really important in keeping the tradition alive.
Okay.
But one name you've probably heard, even if you don't know much about classical music,
Really?
is Pandit Vishnu Digambar Paluskar.
Oh.
He wanted everyone to experience Hindustani classical music. So he set up schools and taught people all over the place.
Wow.
He brought this music to the world.
That's incredible. It's one thing to be a master of something, right? But it's another thing to share it with everyone. And it sounds like the tradition is still going strong.
Oh, yeah, definitely. In the 20th century, we had Pandit Amkarnath Thakur.
Okay.
His voice was so powerful it could make you cry.
Wow.
And then there's Krishnaro Shankar Pandit. He was a genius when it came to the technical stuff.
What do you mean?
His sapatans were out of this world.
Oh, wow.
Like watching some kind of musical magician.
That's awesome. And who else?
Well, there's D.V. Palaskar, too.
K.V. Palaskar.
He had this soulful, melodious voice that still moves people today.
So many amazing artists.
Yeah,
And their influence goes beyond just the Gwalior Gharana, right?
Absolutely.
It's like they inspired other Gharanas too.
Yeah, think about the Agra Gharana, for example.
Okay.
They really liked that Gwalior clarity, but they added their own flair with ornamentation.
I see.
So you have this new style, but you can still hear those Gwalior roots in it.
It's like this big musical family tree.
Exactly.
And Gwalior Gharana is one of the main branches.
Yeah, they've had a huge impact.
So for someone who's just starting to explore Gwalior Gharana, what are the key things to keep in mind?
Well, they were the ones who really brought Khayal to the forefront. Their style is all about balance and clarity, and they have this amazing line of artists whose music still blows people away today.
Yeah.
And beyond that, they've taught so many musicians. Their impact on Hindustani classical music is undeniable.
It's like a ripple effect spreading out through generations.
Exactly.
So if you could go back in time and see any Gwalior Gharana maestro perform live,
Oh, wow.
who would you pick and why?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
So many greats to choose from.
Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
And until next time, happy listening.
Happy listening.